All right, I guess we're set. Welcome everyone to TIMO, to Thailand International Mathematical Olympiad Mock Exam 2023-2024. So before we start, I'll introduce myself first. I'm your coach Ruru, or teacher Ruru. Um, well, my real name is Christian Rose, but you guys please call me Coach Ruru or Teacher Ruru. So that spells R-U-R-U, as in Ruru. All right? Okay. So first, let me discuss my house rules. Okay. Of course, please turn on your camera and mute your microphones. Well, you have to turn on your camera so that I can see that you guys are listening, that you're answering with me, you're following, and that. And you have to mute your microphone so that you won't be distracting your classmates. Please only unmute your microphones if you are recognized or if you have to say something very important. All right. And of course, please avoid unnecessary annotations. Why? Because you will be distracting your classmates again. For sure, if you will draw something or anything far my from our questions, then your classmates will be surely be distracted, or please don't draw anything at all, only if you are recognized or only if you're allowed to. All right. And of course, be attentive, and you guys can ask questions. I'll check the chat box regularly. Please ask necessary questions only. Okay. Questions related to the mock exam. All right. Yeah, so please use the chat box responsibly. Okay, so I think that's it. So those are four simple house rules. Very easy to follow. I believe in you guys that you can follow those. All right. Okay. So this exam is divided into three parts, I guess. 3 to 4 parts. Logical thinking. What else? Number theory and geometry. Well, these are composed of 25 questions. Let's start with number one. All right. So for number one, I'll read it according to the pattern shown below. What should be the number filled in the blank? Again, according to the pattern shown below, what should be the number filled in the blank? So, as you can see, it's a pattern problem, very direct. It's asking us what is the last number or the blank. As you can you see the blank there? We're looking for this number. What do you think is that number? You have to identify. Well, for us to know what is this number, we have to know the pattern first, right? So, what can you observe in the pattern, guys? All right. So, in the pattern or in this sequence or in the pattern shown below, there's an obvious pattern or obvious sequence you can see, right? You can observe. If you try to check 2 and 3, the two previous numbers, if you add them together, that's equal to 5, right? Well, I know it's not easy to identify patterns. So you have to be very imaginative. You have to open your mind to be critical and observe until you get what is the pattern of this problem. All right? We don't have any choice, but we have to identify the pattern, or else we will not get the missing number or the missing value. So again, the pattern goes like adding the first two previous numbers to get the next term. So in number one, you have 2 and 3 as the first two numbers before 5, right? What do you think is the connection? Why did we get up to 5? Maybe we can see that adding 2 and 3, you will get 5, right? Now, how do you think did we get 8? Why do you think 8 is the fourth term in this pattern? You can see the connection that maybe it's a 5 or it's a 3 plus 5, right? See, the 3 and 5 are also two previous numbers before the fourth term, before 8. Am I right? So, the pattern is now consistent. In 2 and 3, you get 5. In 5 and 8, you get 13. Am I right? 5 plus 8 is equal to 13. Mm-hmm. You can also get the pattern here, the 3 plus 5. I almost forgot. So 3 plus 5 will get 8, right? So again, now the pattern that you have observed is very consistent. Therefore, we can use this observation, this pattern, to know what is in the blank or what should be in the blank. So since our observed pattern is adding the two previous numbers before getting the next term, therefore, to get this blank, you have to add 8 and 13 because these are the two previous numbers before our missing term, right? 8 plus 13 is equal to 21. All right. So there, I hope you guys followed. So our answer for number 1 is 21. That's right. Thank you. Okay. Now let's have number 2. Okay. Let me move on to number 2. So for number 2, let me read the question. Mike is 6 years old and Julia will be 18 years old 2 years later. What is the difference between their ages? Again, Mike is 6 years old now and Julia will be 18 years old 2 years later. What is the difference between their ages? Okay, so for number 2, um, we have to answer this in a step-by-step process. As you can see, there are conditions given for us to identify the answer for this number. Am I right? So here is what I am trying to say, guys. So in number 2, we have two people, or two kids. We have Mike and Julia, and we have to know the difference between their ages. Am I right? That is what the question asking. So Mike is 6 years old now. So easy. We have a given, a clue that Mike is 6 years old. This is his age now, right? Now, we have to know Julia's age now because we are asked to know the difference between their ages. Julia will be 18 years old 2 years later. So, 2 years later, she's 18. So, when say later, she should be younger by than 18. So, her age now, Julia, if she will be 18 2 years from now or 2 years later, then Julia must be just 16. 18 minus 2 because she is 18 years old 2 years later. So her age now is 16. Again, Mike is 6 years old now and Julia is 16 years old now. All right. So now we both have their ages, um, their age for today or their age now. Now we can now calculate for the difference between their ages, right? So if Mike is 6 and we have identified that Julia is 16, all we have to do is to know the difference. 16 is the bigger number minus 6. Mike's age is equal to 10. Therefore, and our answer for number 2 must be 10. 10 is the difference between their ages. All right? I hope that's clear. Now, let's continue to number 3. So, for number 3, for number 3, let me read the question. Andy has 3 children, of which only one of them is a girl. How many sons does Andy have? So you have to understand the question. Alright? 3 children. Like this person, Andy, has 3 children. All right. So if this person has 3 children and only one of them is a girl, when you say a girl, that's a daughter, right? Okay. Let me annotate. So Andy has 3 children. So 3 C's. And one of them, only one of them is a girl. So we are lucky that the question is asking, giving us obvious terms where you can read, this person, Andy, has only one girl among the children, right? So 3 children minus one daughter, meaning one girl, so 1D is equal to 2. Since this person, Andy, has only one girl among the 3 children, therefore these 2 remaining are boys, or these are sons, right? There's only one girl. So the answer for number 3 is very easy. The solution is very easy. 3 children minus one daughter, because this person has only one girl among the children. So 3 children minus one daughter is equal to 2. So 2 sons or 2 boys. So how many sons does Andy have? 2. All right. I hope that's clear. The answer here is 2. Okay. So that was fast. Let's have number 4. So for number 4, um, let me move forward. So given 2nd June 2023 is Friday, wait, all right, let me read the question again. Given that 2nd June of 2023 is Friday, which day of the week is 12th of July 2023? So this one's actually really easy. You don't have to overthink about the question. Why is it easy? Because we are dealing with the same year. We are just to count how many days from June 2nd or June 2 of 2023 up to July 12 of 2023. Well, you guys can count it manually, like just count it like how many days. But if you know, or you master your calendars, or if you master um the concepts of weeks and days and dates, that would be really perfect. So let us identify first how many days are there in June. Well, June has 30 days, okay? The month of June has 30 days. So, well, we don't know how, we don't need to identify how many days are there in July, because we are only to count up to the 12th of July. What's important here is that we know how many days are there in June, because we'll be passing the last day of June up to the first day of July, right? So that's what you need to know for number 4. Now, what day again is June 2? It's given June 2. So June 2 is actually Friday. And we have to know what is July 12 of the same year. What day is July 12 of the same year? So this is unknown. So what do you have to do? How many days are left um, with June? 30 days, right? It is 30 days. Therefore, that's how many? 28 days left, right? Plus, we have 12 more days. So again, how many days should we count from July 1 to July 12? That's 12 days. So therefore, we have to count how many days in total. 28 plus 12, that's 40 days. Am I right? So from June 2 to July 12, we have to know how many days are there in total. Well, if you know the concept of weeks, you know that there are 7 days in a week. So we can start dividing 40 divided by 7. But first, the problem here is that June 2, the given day is Friday. It's not a Sunday, it's not a Monday. It's hard to start counting from Friday and so on by dividing it in 7 days. Am I right? Okay. So we can count it that way still. We can still count it that way. So 40 divided by 7, since there are 7 days in a week. So that's how many? Um, 5 days. That's 5.5, right? 5 times 7 is 35. So 5 7 weeks. It's 5 7 days. 0.5. So we can count from there. Also, we can put a mini calendar here that starts on Saturday. Starts on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, then Friday. Right? So this is Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. All right. So we can count from there, but just the point 0.5. Um, we can repeat it. It's a repetitive if you will count the 5 7 days, like this part. Like you have to. It's repetitive so much that you will count the 7 times 5 weeks with 7 days. It's very repetitive. So all we have to do is just count the remaining 5 days because we'll still land on the same day for the day that we are looking for. Okay. So since our week or the given is starts with Friday, so we'll start counting the point 0.5, the remainder from Saturday. Okay. That's what's there. Okay. So let's count from 1 to 5 from Saturday. 2, 3, 4, 5. So what we did here is we only count the what we do here is we only count the remainder so that will count faster. Because again, it's very repetitive. If you will count this 5 here, the 5 sets of 7 days, still you will land on the same day. I hope you get that. So the fifth day or the fifth remainder falls with the day of Wednesday. Therefore, our answer for number 4 is Wednesday. All right, I hope that's clear. Okay, I hope you guys also got Wednesday. Well, the answer for number 4 is Wednesday. Okay, let me erase my drawings so we can proceed or we can move forward to number 5. Okay, for number 5, according to the pattern shown below, how many of this symbol, let's call this symbol as a plus because it's a cross on a circle. So let's just call it a Z plus, okay? I hope that's all right. So according to the pattern shown below, how many plus is or are there in the 25th group? So, what do you think? Oh, I think I haven't shown the pattern. Let me get the pattern first for you guys. All right. So let me read question number 5 again. So you can see in number 5 there's a group set of figures, right? So hello, can you guys hear me? Let me check. All right, there. So now I'm sorry for that, but let's go back to the question. So for number 5, we can see sets of figures, right? We have first group, second group, third group, and fourth group. But the problem is we have to know the 25th group. But the thing is, we only have until the fourth group. So what do you think, or how do you think we can do this? That we're only given from first to the fourth. but we are actually looking for the 25th group, or we are asked for the 25th group. Well, that's easy. As you can see in the question, you can read in the question according to the pattern shown below. Therefore, these groups here follows a pattern. So these groups here follow a pattern, okay? Therefore, we just have to know the pattern, then it'll be really easy for us to know what is the 25th group. Well, in number 5, it follows a pattern that's actually just adding 2 of this symbol, or we have all this plus, right? This plus symbol, adding 2 per figure or per group. While in the first one, it has only 1 plus. In the second group, it became 3. In the third group, it became 5. In the fourth group, it became 7. So let me draw that, or let me write that pattern. So they started with 1, now it's 3, then now it's 5, then we have here 7. Okay, so that's 1, 3, 5, and 7. All right. So you can see now the pattern. It's adding 2 per group, but starts with 1. Therefore, if this corresponds for the first group, so if 1 is equal to the first group, 3 corresponds for the second group, and 5 corresponds for the third group, and 7 corresponds for the fourth group. We just have to count up to 25. Okay? So for the fifth group, so it's 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Fifth group, 9. 11, 12, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19, 10th group. Okay, look at the screen. Again, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, fifth group. 11, 13, 15, 17, 19, 10th group. 21, 23, 25, 27, 29, 15th group. Where did we start? Where did we stop? Okay. So we stopped at 15th group, which is 29, right? So you can see the pattern. In the 5th, it's 9. In the 10th, it's 19. In 15th, it's 29. Therefore, in 20th, it should be 39. Okay, let's do it. So 29 was the 15th. So 16, 31, 33, 35, 37, 39. So this is the 20th. Now we're down to the 20th. We're going nearer to the 25th. And it ends with a 9. Let's see if it's true according to our pattern. Adding 2 or increasing 2 per term. So on our 21st, it's 41, 43, 45, 47, 49. See, it ends with 9. This is the 25th group. So we can see multiple patterns here, but all you have to do, really, what's important here is you should recognize that if the pattern follows an increasing of 2 on the next term. All right, I hope that's clear. Okay, I hope we can now move forward to number 6. But again, the answer for number 5 is 49. Okay. Right now we're in number 6. So this is a word problem that's actually easy because you can figures are given. So we'll be using the figure of a sweater here. So, well, you'll get what I'm saying. So, William has 11 sweaters. Robert has 5 fewer sweaters than William. Now, how many sweaters do they have in total? So, it's not, this is step by step again. It's not easy as adding 11 and 5 because the question got some conditions, right? So, again, let's write the given so that we'll not miss a detail. All right. Okay. So, well, in number 6, William here got 11 sweaters, right? So that is this part. William has 11 sweaters. So we're writing the given. Now, Robert has 5 sweaters than William. Again, Robert has 5 sweaters than William. When you say fewer, meaning lesser, right? Fewer sweaters. When you say fewer, this person Robert has fewer sweaters. Therefore, the number of his sweaters are way less than what William way less than the number of sweaters William has. All right. So let's write Robert. So Robert is 5 less than William. Well, William got 11 and Robert got 5 less, so we can write it as 11 minus 5. So let's answer that directly. 11 minus 5, that's 6. Therefore, we now have identified that Robert got 6 fewer sweaters. All right. So 11 plus 6 is equal to 17. Okay. So what we did here is first, we don't know the exact value or number of sweaters this Robert has, but luckily we have a clue that Robert has fewer or 5 fewer sweaters than William. So in other terms, this person Robert has fewer or lesser number of sweaters. So it was easy as subtracting 5 from William's number of sweaters. So 11 minus 5, that's equal to 6. So let's add William and Robert's number of sweaters because we've identified that Robert got 6. So 11 plus 6 is equal to 17. Therefore, our answer should be 17 in this number. All right. And number 6, the answer is 17. So there are 17 sweaters in total. Okay. So that's the sum of William and Robert's. All right. I hope you guys followed. That was really easy, right? Okay. So now let's go to number 7. So for number 7, arithmetic. So the following questions starting from 7 will be arithmetic questions. So I hope that's you followed for the logical thinking questions, the 1 to 6. Now we are down to number 7 and we'll start answering or discussing arithmetic questions. All right, we're done with logical thinking. So for number 7, let me read the question. Let's find the value of 12 minus 7 plus 18 minus 23 plus 26 minus 11. So it's quite a long equation. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 values and 2 operations. Subtraction and addition. All right. So, well, we can try like 12 minus 7, get the answer, then add to the next difference. But no, it's not. Because you can see 18 minus 23 will give us a negative number. So it will be harder or more difficult to answer this question if we will not regroup. So we have to regroup the equation. We have to answer it by pairing. So in number 7, we have to pair this. How? So let me show. So you can actually pair, we can actually do it this way. Wait a minute. So there, you can see on the screen, we have the question. Now from that question, we rearrange or we group the equation. So the rearrangement, so this is the original equation, right? You know that. Now, this is the rearrange or regroup. So it'll be easier for us to follow the operations. Still, the operations remained, right? What we did here is we added the positive values 12 and 18. Then we subtracted the negative values or the symbols that has minus sign, so minus 7, and minus 23, so minus 7 and minus 23. You can see that, right? And then a plus 26 because it's a positive value. We just follow this part, the last two terms. We just follow that. We rearrange the first four terms, right? Okay, I hope you guys followed. So from there, we have rearranged everything. Now it's easier for us to answer per operation. So in our first operation, the 12 plus 18, that's a 30, right? Minus 7 minus 23, that's also a 30. And 26 minus 11, that's a 15. So that's 30 minus 30 plus 15. 30 minus 30 is 0. When you add the 15, you will get a 15 also. So that's it for number 7. It's 15. Okay? So now let's proceed to number 8. So in number 8, the question is, if A is a two-digit number, what is the value of A? So we have given here, it's with a clue. If A is a two-digit number, what do you think is the value of A if the equation below is correct? Well, this is very easy because we get the difference. At 27 minus A is over 12. A is missing, but we have a difference here. And we know the operation is minus. So it's very easy. So what you have to do here is a backward solution. So this number here or this problem here can be solved through applying backward solution. So what is backward solution? You will answer it in backwards, obviously. So the A is missing, but we know that the difference is solved. So you can also actually write 27 minus 12 is equal to A. You will know why this is correct. 27 minus 12 is equal to 15, right? Therefore, A is equal to 15. Let's check. 27 minus A, which is 15, is truly 12, right? See, so we answered it through backward solution and we got the right answer. 27 minus 15 is equal to 12. 27 minus 12 is equal to A, where A is equal to 15. Okay, that's it. That's it for number 8. Okay, let's move forward to number 9. So there, it's another set of numbers with two operations up to 44. Two operations. The two operations are still subtraction and addition, right? So well, this one's more challenging because we will be looking for the missing link. We don't know this. You see, there's a missing link right there, guys. The three dots or an ellipsis. So that corresponds to the numbers. All right. But first, we have to know the pattern. The pattern goes 4 minus 5 plus 6 minus 7 plus 8 minus 9. So number less than 1 minus to the number greater than 1. Right? 4 is less than 1 and 5 is greater than 1. You can see that? And you add the 6 plus, 6 minus 7. 6 is less than 7 and 7 is greater than 6 by 1. Right? So you can see that pattern already. A pair added up to 44. Okay, let me show you a clearer picture to that. So now we have this. You can see my solution, right? So this right here is the solution. Let me extract that for you so that you can understand further. Well, what we did here is this is the original equation, right? Now, it's very complicated or harder to solve, harder to calculate. So what we did is we rearranged it. You can see the rearrangement here. So this is the rearrangement. Well, that rearrangement is obviously obviously written or obviously transformed. We started from the biggest number, the 44, then backwards, because that's actually just equal. can see the original equation is equal to this rearrangement. Can you see that? Can you see the relationship? Yeah. Okay. Well, you can see also in my solution that since, diba, 4 is less than 1 of 5, that's the first part. So there's a difference of 1. Therefore, all these numbers listed gives a 1. Now, we can count that there are 20 counts of pairs or 20 pairs up to 44. So, with that, this 20 counts plus the 4. Okay, can you see that now? So 20 counts of pairs or 20 pairs plus 4, then you will get the answer. 20 counts of the difference of 1 and then a plus 4, that's equal to 24. 20 plus 4 is 24. All right, so this is the 4 there. Because the 5 plus 6 gets a 1, right? So that's a 1. That's why we get a 1 here. And we have a count of 1. So those 20 counts are from the 20 pairs. Each pair gives a 1. All right, so 20 counts plus the 4. So that's 24. That's it for number 9. Okay, let's proceed to number 10. So now we're in number 10. Again, some values that we have to add, right? But let's zoom in. Please don't get intimidated because as you can see, it follows a pattern. What pattern? It's actually repetitive. What I'm talking about is 1 plus 4 plus 5, 1 plus 4 plus 5, another 1 plus 4 plus 5. So how many sets in total? 4 sets of a 1 plus 4 plus 5. So what we have to do now is just to add the first set of pattern, first set in the sequence. 1 plus 4 plus 5, this is equal to 10. 1 plus 4 is equal to 5 plus 5, that's equal to 10. Again, the total of this is 10. Therefore, all the other sets is also equal to 10. This is 10, right? And this is another 10. And this is the last 10, the fourth 10. So 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10, it's a 10, 20, 30, 40. Therefore, the answer for number 10 is 40. Easy as that. So in questions like this, you really have to be observant. You have to be really critical. You have to be wise. Instead of adding them all together, we can actually do grouping. It's repetitive, so easier to answer, right? If you will know the pattern. Well, there's another pattern if you haven't seen this one. You can also do this pattern or this technique. You can also count how many ones are there. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 ones. So 4 ones is equal to 4. And you can see how many fours. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4. 4, 8, 12, 16. So you can add plus 16. Then you also have 5. How many 5? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 5. So 5, 10, 15, 20. So that's a plus 20. 4 plus 16 is 20 plus 20. That's also still equal to 40. See, we still got the same value. Right, it's all up to you. How would you get this one? How would you do it? How would you do it faster? But this problem is just trying to teach us that there are other ways of instead of adding them um, one by one, we can actually do grouping them. We can actually group them. We can actually pair them or put them in a set or just identify a pattern for us to solve the problem faster. So to save time and give the harder questions more time. Okay? I hope you get that. All right, now we're in number 11. So if C is a one-digit number, so that's a P. C is actually a one-digit number. Now, what is the value of C if the question or if the equation is correct? Just to be clear, now the question is a 16. And you can see the one, right? It's not separated, that's 16. So 16 minus C is equal to C. What can actually, what I can answer here, I know that 16 is composed of two C's. See, I hope you know division already because a C plus C is equal to 16 using backward approach. So using backward approach, you can get that a C and a C or the two C's are actually equal to 16. So if you will write this in backwards, the 16 minus C is equal to C. You can write it as C plus C is equal to 16. There. So simply as dividing 16 divided by 2, if you know division already, then you know 16 divided by this equal to 8. So C is actually equal to 8. We just divided 16 by 2 because we are looking for two C's with the same value. So 8 plus 8 is equal to 16. So the answer for number 11, the letter C that we're looking for is 8. Okay? That's the answer for number 11. 8. C is equal to 8. All right. So that was fast. Let's now have number 12. So we have to find the value of this. Um, don't you think this value or this question is very familiar? Actually, the same with number 10, right? But this time, more terms in the pattern. So this is what I'm talking about. So 2468, 2468, 2468. So it's repeated three times. 2468, 2468, and a 2468. So three terms or three sets. 2 plus 4 plus 6 plus 8. That's 2 plus 4 is equal to 6. Plus 6 is equal to 12. Plus 8 is equal to 20. 2 plus 4 is equal to 6. Plus 6 is equal to 12. Plus 8 is equal to 20, right? So the first part here is 20. And so on. Since they're repetitive, therefore this part here is also 20, and the third part is also 20. So add them up together, 20, 40, 60. Therefore, 20 plus 20 plus 20 is equal to 60. Three repetitive terms added together, that's equal to 60. Okay, so that was fast. Now we can move forward to number 13. Oh, now we're on a different topic or different lesson. Now we're in number 3. In number 3, um, we have, I think, 6 more questions also. So yeah, in number 13, Tom has 4 candies and Wendy has 6 candies. Now, how many candies or how many candies should Tom give Wendy so that they will have the same number of candies? So I think this question is quite familiar to you guys, but for those first timers to encounter this question, that's all right. Let's discuss this thoroughly. So first is we have to check the difference of the original number before um giving something to this person, Wendy. So let's write the given. Of course, I really encourage you guys to write the given so that you will not get confused. All things are written in details. So Tom, this person Tom, has 14 candies. Now, this Wendy has 6. So obviously they don't have equal number of candies. So what you have to do is to get the difference first. 14 minus 6, that's an 8. Meaning this person Tom got 8 more candies than Wendy, right? So how do we do this then? 14 minus 6 is equal to 8. So we can divide 8 by 2. So 8 divided by 2 is equal to 4. So 8 is actually a 4 plus 4. Therefore, this 4 plus 4 here, this is for the first 4 would be for William, would remain to William. I mean to Tom. Then we have Wendy. So again, the first 4 right here is for Tom. And the second 4 right here is for Wendy. Okay? So Tom needs to give Wendy 4 more candies. So originally, Wendy got only 6, but if Tom will give him 4 more, then she'll get 10. Again, let's have a clearer picture to this one. So Tom got 14 originally. This girl, Wendy, only has 6. What we did, we got the difference, or we identified the difference. 14 minus 6, it's 8. Therefore, this 8 number of candies will divide it into 2. So that's composed of a 4 plus 4, right? So the first 4 will remain to Tom, and the second 4 will be given to Wendy. So since Tom will be giving 4 more candies to Wendy, so Tom is giving 4 candies away to Wendy. So he's left with 10. Now, since Tom is giving 4 candies to Wendy, so that's a plus 4 for a Wendy. So 6 plus 4, that's a 10. Therefore, Tom needs to give Wendy 4 candies for them to have equal number of candies. All right? Or the same number of candies. That's it for number 13. So that explanation is quite long, but still the question is very easy. All you have to do is write down all the details so you won't forget or you won't miss something. And you will be certain with your answer. All right. Let's proceed to number 14. So for number 14, let me read the question. Which of the following two-digit even numbers is the biggest? So we first need to identify the even numbers here because as you can see, it's very obvious. Some of the numbers are odd. And all we have, and we are looking for the two-digit even number, the biggest. All right? So, of course, let's do elimination. Let's eliminate all the odd numbers because obviously, in the pool of odd numbers, we will not get our answer from there. So let's cross out 23. It's an odd number. 41 also is an odd number. So it's 67. And we have 93 now. We only have to pick from the 3 values, 102, 22, and 82. 102 is a very big number. And it's even. But the thing is, what's the problem? It's a 3-digit number. So guys, be very critical, be very observant, always be mindful with the question, be careful. So we are looking for a 2-digit number, huh? We're not looking for a three-digit number. 102 is a very big number. Maybe you'll forget about that. So be careful. So 102 is not the right answer, obviously, because it is in three-digit form. So you have just to compare 22 and 82. We're left with 22 and 82. Obviously, 82 is way, way bigger. Therefore, our answer for number 14 is 82. All right. So now we have identified the two-digit even number that is biggest or largest among the values. All right. So I hope you guys got something from that you have to be careful. Okay, now let's proceed for number 15. So in number 15, given A is an even number, determine whether the value of A plus 1, A plus 3, plus A plus 5 plus A is odd or even number. Well, in number 15, since A is an even number, we can write it, let's label it, right? If what do you think is the answer for this one? Well, just to take note, when you add even plus, I'll just put it in this part here, even plus even, you'll always get an even also. And if you will if you will add odd plus odd, that's actually equal to odd or even. What do you think? Even also, always even. But if you will add even plus odd, it's actually equal to odd. Okay. So again, adding even and even, you will get an even answer, and adding in both odd numbers or an odd plus odd, you will also get an even number. You will only get an odd value if you will be adding one even value and another odd value. So let's check. Well, we don't really have to check everything. As you can see, we have A's, which are given A is an even number. So we'll all know that A's are even. Then we have to add those values, the A to 1, 3, and 5. 1, 3, and 5 are odd numbers. So from there, we can get that since it's a mix of an even and odd numbers being added together, obviously the sum of this equation or the answer for this equation, the value is also odd number. All right. So always remember E plus E is equal to E. O plus O is equal to E. And E plus O or O plus E is equal to O. Adding two even will give you an even. Adding two odds will give you an even number. But adding a mix of even and odd numbers, that will definitely give you or will result into odd number. Well, you can also list down to be safe. Because, for example, 1 plus 2, 1 is an odd, 2 is an even, then you have 3 is an odd number. So that's two odds, and 1 even. But actually it's equal to 6. So this is an even number. So let's always check, count the number of odd numbers here and count the number of even numbers here. So it's actually a pair. It's even, odd, even, odd, even, odd, even. Therefore, the answer is odd. So A even, 1 odd. So EO, 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 E. Therefore, the answer for this one, since the number of values also is an odd number, therefore the answer for number 15 will give you an odd number. You don't have to identify what's A. Well, you can try actually substituting where, for example, you will give a value. You get that? So let's give value to a or let a be equal to 2. It's an even. The smallest even number is 2, right? So we can do that. Let's try. Let's check our answer if it's correct. So let's zoom in. So we can write it this way. So this is a 2, also another 2, then a 2, then another 2. So 2 plus 1 is a 3, plus 2, 5, plus 3, 8, plus 2, 10, plus 5, 15, plus 2, 17. See, we get an odd number. So you can do two techniques by remembering the pattern A plus E is equal to O plus O is equal to E, or E plus O is equal to O. So we can do that or do this. Since A will since A is actually just a one number, you can substitute something to that. You can use as what we did here. Let A be equal to 2. So we use the value of 2, the smallest even number, as A. Because in the question, given A is an even number, so we use 2 to be our even number here in number 15. So now let's do 16. Fill in the blanks with plus and minus to make the equation below correct. Write down the complete equation on the answer sheet. To fill in the blanks with a plus or a minus, so we have two operations that we have to use and fill in the equation to make the equation correct. Well, the value 5 is way smaller than the other values here. We have 6 and 7 in the left side of our equation, and if the answer of the equation is equal to 5, it's a way smaller value compared to the values in the left side, right? So let's try to answer this one. Let's utilize the plus and minus. So let's do maybe 6 plus 4. We can do that, right? 6 plus 4 is a 10. So a 6 plus 4 is equal to 10. Then can we do plus or minus? Maybe a minus, right? Because let's combine these two numbers. Let's subtract these two numbers. 6 plus 4, because again, 5 is a small number. So maybe adding the two pairs, subtracting the two pairs will give that value. Let's check. 6 plus 4 is equal to 10, and 7 plus 2 is equal to 9. So will it work? 6 plus 4 is equal to 10. Or should we answer it this way? No, there's no parenthesis. So that's not the way. So what we do here is we solve it directly or from left to right. 6 plus 4 is equal to 10, minus 7 is equal to 3, plus 2 is equal to 5. Okay, so since in the equation it's not with parentheses, so you are not allowed to pair them, but to solve them from left to right. 6 plus 4 is equal to 10, minus 7 is equal to 3, plus 2 is equal to 5. I hope that's clear. You have to answer this from left to right instead of pairing them, or else you'll get the wrong answer. So be careful with using symbols. Okay, let's proceed to number 17. A box of eggs contains 12 eggs. So this box contains 12 eggs. Billy buys 4 boxes of eggs and eats 4 eggs. How many eggs remains? Okay, let's for number 17. So in number 17, you have a box of eggs and it contains 12 eggs. Billy buys 4 boxes of eggs and eats 4 eggs. How many eggs remain? So again, this is a step-by-step problem, or you have to apply a step-by-step solution in this problem so that you will get a certain answer. So first we have 4 boxes of eggs, and this 4 boxes of eggs gets or contains 12 eggs. So 12 sets or 4 sets of 12 eggs, right? So when you say 12 eggs, at a dozen. So per box, it gets a dozen of eggs. Or again, 12 eggs. So we have now 4 boxes here with 12 eggs each box. There. So 12%, 12. So a 12, 12, 12, 12. So that's equal to 48. So this is equal to 48. 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12 is equal to 48. So this is the original total of um, eggs that Billy was able to bought or was able to buy. 48 eggs in total, but he ate 4 of them. So, but he ate 4 eggs. So we are asked how many eggs or egg remains. So we added the 4 boxes already. It's 48. We subtract the 4 eaten eggs. So that's a 44. So the answer for number 17 is 44. There are 44 remaining eggs. All right. So that was quick. So now we have number 18. The question is, the numbers below form an arithmetic sequence. So remember, this is an arithmetic problem. So the numbers below form an arithmetic sequence. What is the 15th term of the sequence? In here, we only get how many terms in total here? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we are looking for the 15th term. So first, we have to identify the pattern before we can jump and answer to what is 15th term. We will not know that unless we know the pattern, right? We cannot guess. We cannot simply guess. So you can see 118 and 112. 118 is a bigger number than 112. Therefore, 112 is smaller. 106 is also smaller than 112. Therefore, maybe this pattern is decreasing. Well, obviously, this pattern is decreasing. But in what way in what way or in what manner is this sequence decreasing? So 118 and 12, the difference is 6, right? 112 and 106 is also 6. That's the difference. 106 and 100 is also 6. 194 is also 6. So you can see that the pattern that we have observed, it's decreasing by 6, is very consistent in all the 5 terms. The difference is decreasing by 6. Okay? So now we have to know the 15th term. Well, from there, you can actually, from 118, you can actually, how many 6 are there? In the first 5 terms, it's a plus 30, right? Or a minus 30. In the first 5 terms, it's a minus 30. I mean, well, there's a plus 6 here because in the first 5 terms, you will only get 4 sixes. So 4 sixes here. So 4 times 6, or adding 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6 is equal to 24. Then on the up to the 6th term, up to the 10th term, that's a minus 30. So this is from first to 5th term is equal to 24. But 6th to 5th to 10th term is a minus 30. Then another minus 30 for the 11th to 15th. So it's 118 minus 24 minus 30 minus 30. So that's actually equal to 134. Or I mean 34, I'm sorry. Is equal to 34. So 118 minus 24 minus 30 minus 30 is equal to 24. Where did we get 24? This is the 24. The first 6 differences of the first 5 terms. But since we have 94 as the fifth term, then we'll go to the sixth one, which is 88, right? So 88 is the sixth up to the 10th term. That's actually equal to 30 difference. So this is the for the sixth and the 10th term. But for the 11th and the 15th term, it's equal to 30 also. So that's why we have 118 as our first term minus the 24 minus the 30 and another 30. All that remains is 34. Therefore, our 15th term is equal to 34. Okay, so this is the answer for number 18. All right, since we're done with number 18, we can now proceed to number 19. So there. So before we proceed with that, first, let's remember that the following questions are geometry-related questions. All right, I hope that's clear. So there, this is for number 19. The question is, how many rectangles is or are there in the figure below? You might say it's 5, but it's not. Remember, what's a rectangle? Two sides are shorter than the other sides. So we can see different type of rectangles, right? You have to be critical. Again, you have to be careful in answering questions. So in number 19, we can count this by this way. So we have 5 already, the black lines, these small rectangles. So that's a count of 5. So let's put the blue X. So 5 blue X's. So let's write it down so we won't forget. Then let's put a red X for this big rectangle right there. So that's a +1. Okay. Then let's have a green X for this longer rectangles. Two small rectangles all together. That's a 2. Oh, and hey, remember this one. This right here is also a rectangle. It's also a rectangle. So that's a +2. And this right here is a very long and thin rectangle. Am I right? So that's a +1. So how many rectangles can you see in total? Did I miss some other rectangle right there? What do you think? Let's do it again. So for the blue ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's write that down, 5. Then we have this rectangle. So this rectangle, and this rectangle. So that's 2. Tapos, also this one, this 2. So that's another 2, right? We have a longer rectangle. So that's a 2. Then we have, that's a one only. Also, we have this thick rectangle right there. That's another plus one. What rectangle did I miss from there? My answer is 5 plus 2 plus 2, 9 plus 1, 11. If I missed the rectangle right there, then please take note. All right. But that's it. This is how I would answer this kind of problem. I'll label it or I'll put figures on it. I'll annotate on it so that I won't get confused and won't miss a rectangle. All right. So that's it for number 19. What you will get from number 19, you have to label and assign colors or assign something to your figure if you are to count how many of this shape is in you can see in this shape, etc., etc. All right. Now let's proceed to number 20. In number 20, this is also another pattern, but according to the pattern shown below, what should be the figure drawn in the blank? So what do you think is the figure shown in the blank, or what should be the figure on the blank? First is we have to know the pattern. Well, it's a triangle, circle, diamond, right? You can see that. A triangle, circle, and a diamond. That's in repeating pattern, right? So there. In number 20, we are looking for this unknown figure, but luckily we already know the pattern. Well, you can observe in the pattern that it's divided into few sets. Each set contains three terms. These three terms is a triangle, a circle, and a diamond. So let's divide that into that way. So now we know what's missing. So we're missing the second term per set. So our usual second term is a circle, right? It's a circle. So easy as that. From there, we know that this is a circle. Okay. So our missing figure or the figure that should be drawn in the blank is a circle. Okay, I hope that's clear. That's it for number 20. Now let's proceed to number 21. So in number 21, how many sides is or are there in the polygon below? We are to just count how many sides. Easy as counting. We already know how many sides. So let's count. So this is simple counting, guys. So one is first side, second, third, fourth, then a fifth, sixth, seven, eight, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there are 12 sides in total. So easy as counting, then you know there are 12 sides in total. Or you can also count this way. Each semi-square got three sides, and you have four sets of that semi-square. So that's 4 times 3. And you will also get a 12. So that's it for number 21. Now let's have number 22. So in number 22, still a geometric related problem. Cubes of the same size and shape replace as shown in the figures below. If there are three cubes in the figure, at least how many in figure one, at least how many cubes is or are there in figure two? Then let me read the question in number 22. Cubes of the same size and shape are placed as shown in the figures below. If there are three cubes in figure one, at least how many cubes is or are there in figure two? So in number 22, you can see in figure one, it has three cubes, right? And in figure two, it's just like a three sets of figure one. Can you see that? In number 22, it's just a three sets of figure one. So let me annotate. So this is the first set, this is the second set, and this is the third set. You can see that of figure 1. So this is one set is equal to 3 sets. So that's a 3. Since you have 3 sets, plus 3, because you have 3 cubes in the first figure, right? Or the in figure 1. So we have 3 sets of 3s. The 3 plus 3 plus 3, that's equal to 9. Alright, so in number 22, the answer is actually 9. Now, let's proceed to number 23. So in number 23, how many different triangles can be formed with the points below as vertices? So let me show you number 23 first. Okay, so there, in number 23, how many different triangles can be formed with the points below as vertices? So there, since a triangle has how many vertices? 3, right? And how many dots or how many points can you see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there are 7 points that you can see. From that 7 points, you can connect and try to connect them, and you will get this value or answer. There, you can combine this. You can see that. Let me zoom in. A 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1 and so on, in decreasing pattern. Why? Because the points will be used or will be utilized. That's why we are now just pairing the vertices in decreasing form from 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. From there, few of the vertices will be utilized. So now it's grouped. From there, if you will add this, you get a 15, a 10, a 6, a 3, and 1. Add them up together. These are the combinations of 3 vertices being connected, okay, for you to get or to draw a triangle. So all the vertices will be utilized to draw a triangle, and there you'll get 35. So 35 combinations of 3 points to form triangle. Okay, that's it for number 23. Now let's proceed to number 24. So in number 24, we have this figure and we are asked if how many lines or how many line segments or line segment is or are there in the figure below. In number 24, you can see how many in total. Well, you just have to count this one. Um, the smaller lines or the shorter lines, I'm sorry, the shorter line segments are equal to 9. So these smaller lines are equal to 9. The bigger ones are equal to 5 and a 1 here. So these are the total number of line segments that you can observe. Add them up together. 9 plus 5 plus 1. So that's a 15, right? So the 9, again, the 9s are the smaller ones, like the direct line segments being connected. And the 5 are the bigger ones. And the 1 is the separated line segment. So that's it. That's for number 24. All right. We have 15 line segments in number 24. Now let's proceed to our last number, down to our last number. So, very easy. Which of the following numbers is the biggest? So when you say biggest number, you have to check. Maybe it's in millions, billions, where you can see this one. The first thing you have to check is the number of digits per number. Because, for example, if you have 6 digits, that's a million, right? If you have 7 digits, that's a billion. I mean, no, if you have 6 digits, that's 100,000s. And if you have 7 digits, that's a million, and so on. If you have just 4 digits, that's that's in thousands, right? So yeah, you'll get it. So let's try to count the number of digits in this question or in the given. So what I'll do here is I'll divide them by 3. I'll cut it by 3 because easier for me to count. Like putting a comma on there. You cannot see a comma, right? So I put a comma there and another comma here. So this is a 20,233,212. And let's check the other figure. So this is another comma there. So still in 20 millions. We have this also. Still in 20 millions. What about the last one? Still in 20 million. So all the four values are in 20 millions. So let's check the next number to it. So 23, so, or 233,000, 232,000, 229,239. So if this is 233,000, this is only 232. So this is smaller already. 229 is already smaller than the first one because 233 now it's now 229. So we have a 239, a contender of our first value. So it's in 20,239,000. So this is a bigger value than the first term or the first value. So therefore, our answer for this number, for our last item, is actually the last one. See? So there, we have identified that the 20,239,484 is the biggest value among the four values given here. So that's it. So I hope you guys learned not just answering these questions, but also some techniques, some ways to answer the questions faster, or you have learned more approaches. But what you have to keep in your mind is to be careful. Always be careful in reading the question, understand the question, repeat it as much as you can, and save time for the harder questions. All right. Okay, don't complicate the question. Just read it directly and understand it. That's it. So there, I'm Coach Rule, and I hope you guys learned something from our session or our discussion today. See you around.